So we're recording a video this morning to show how a guide estimate can be produced. We're going to do a dummy one with me as the customer and Dax as the technical salesperson, which is an accurate thing. So what you'll find is you'll often find that installers these days have this type of software embedded in their website, so you can actually go on as a customer or potential customer and create your own guide estimate. But we're going to talk through the type of software and talk through what we do because Dax actually likes to go through it with the customer. So we're going to use a real dummy example of my address. I already have a heat pump, so it's but that doesn't actually matter to the software. We can look at estimating for another heat pump, even if you've already got one. So Dax is going to enter the details to start off
Okay.
doing the
Yeah. So
inquiry.
basically, this inquiry form should be able to be found on our website as well. But effectively, this if I give you a call and we have a chat about your system and what we need from yourself, this is the information we're going to be taking. So we start with the property address, which I believe is NR10 on yours, which
Well,
is NR10
3AD.
3AD. And it's number 33, I believe, isn't it? So
Yeah.
Newton Street. So this will be looking at the EPC and the information that's already on the EPC register. It's basically public knowledge for everybody to find, and it's going to put up all the information if there's an existing EPC about the property. If it's a new build, we have a slightly different process where we have to basically upload floor plans and register new information, sort of build it from scratch. But for now, I believe you've got an EPC on your property, which there is. It was done in 2014, so it's only just in date, I do believe. If not, they stay on the system for about 12 years. But ultimately, unless if you've had any changes, any extensions, or any building done it on the house, any insulation changes or anything else, it won't be accurate. So this is where we go through in a little bit more detail to find out exactly what's going on with the house.
Yeah, so that was something I was asking you was what are the
Yeah.
drawbacks of the EPC? So this is why
Yes.
it's the guide estimate because it's not based on any work that we've done. It's based on the EPC. But as we go through, you can ask more questions to check. You're going to ask more questions to check,
Exactly. Yeah.
add,
So the energy
enhance the
performance
information.
certificate is only as good as the person who's done it and when it was done. If it's done before other work's been done on the house, then obviously it's out of date. The newer the EPC, the better generally. So we know it's a house and it's detached. I believe is it
It's
five
got,
bedrooms?
yeah, 4 bedrooms, not five.
Four bedrooms. See, that's a good indication where there can be errors on there. Uh,
And two
two
baths.
bathrooms, yeah,
Yeah,
two bathrooms, two floors in the property.
yeah,
And at the moment, the heat pump doesn't show heat pump, it just says electric, which can
yeah.
look bad,
Which could be
actually.
confused with direct electric heating, which it isn't, but that's the
Which,
best
yeah,
they've got on the EPC, isn't it?
that is one of the failings of EPCs at the moment. Yeah, it's sort of very bad.
And I think
How
my
accurate
square
is
meterage is supposed to be 220 square meters.
220? So we can change that. And it's
Yeah,
double glazed all the way through,
yeah,
has cavity walls because of
yeah,
the age of the building, it's insulated, and your insulation in
yeah.
the loft is up to sort of modern building regulations. You've got 253. I think 300
Yeah.
millimeters is
We've
modern
added
building regs.
more. Yeah.
Wonderful. So what we also do is put in some just the contact details, so we can. No, wait, there we go, and generate that estimate. Okay, that's the only bit the customer themselves have to fill in if it's on the website. The rest is then sent through to us, and the information is then we are notified, and the report is set up in here, ready for myself or the technical designers to have a look at. From here, we can then start checking the information that's been entered into the property. I would generally give the customer a call as well. And if I haven't spoken to them already, if I'm still speaking to them, then we can basically have a look through and double check some of the figures, because what we're looking at here, the system is trying to do its own heat loss estimate. At the moment, it's saying the building needs 12 kilowatts, 12.75 kilowatts of energy. It's looking at an outside regional design temperature of minus 3.1 degrees, which is Ofgem specified for the region. If we're up in Cumbria, it will be minus 5.5. There's different sort of regional specifics.
And these are those two temperatures, the design temperature and the internal temperature. As MCS installers, we can't change those. So if you're a
Exactly.
homeowner playing around with the software, again, it's not a good idea to change those figures because they're what we have to design to, which gives the homeowner the access
But
to the
the
customer
homeowner won't get to this
effectively.
point, so they don't touch this part of it. Okay, this is
So
where
this is
Simon and
where
I will.
talking it through. So this is the stage of
Exactly.
talking it through is rather
Yes,
than just do the thing online, it's the talking it through because then even at this guide estimate stage, you could get a more accurate estimate
that's
because
right.
you like to go through all of the parameters and enhance and increase the information from the EPC even over the phone or on a
Yeah.
Zoom, which
So
more
our
accurate,
technical
yeah, estimate doesn't.
yeah, our technical design is a bit more sort of au fait with some of the figures here. Essentially, we've got like these figures are set to the 2.21 degrees indoor temperature is our design parameter set by Ofgem, that's what we have to achieve when it's minus 3.1 degrees outdoors. We're expecting one air change per hour, which is basically stipulated by the type of building. And because you've got an airtight building, pretty airtight building with no trickle vents, MVHR system, so this is fairly accurate. What we do know here, some of these, we know that you've got underfloor heating all the way through already. Now, one of the things I've been talking to the customer and asking the customer about is, do you have radiators in there? How many radiators do you have? If we know that there's radiators that need to be changed, we'll have to upgrade and change those accordingly. But with underfloor heating, I know that you'll have good insulation levels in there, and the U values might not mean a lot to the general customer, and most people wouldn't have a clue what a U value is. However, we know that if you've got underfloor heating, this figure for 4.825 kilowatts is basically stating that that's the heat loss in the floors of the whole house. Now, the U value of your floors are probably much lower, and therefore this is a more realistic figure. In actual fact, I'm fairly certain on your floors, because they're well insulated, that the U value is actually nearer 0.5 U value, which means that your heat loss in the floors is far less than originally quoted. And this is one of the reasons we sort of do speak to the customer, ascertain what they've got, and get a better understanding. Your 2014 EPC, I do believe, assumed your older windows, as built windows. Now we know that they've been changed, and so you've got much more modern, more modern. They're not new, but they're still much more modern than their 2014. And in actual
It'll be
fact,
interesting to see if we get a new EPC, what that comes out
yes,
as compared with that
yeah.
one.
Well, it should be much more accurate to this sort of level of heating at the end of this. So I do believe your windows are probably going to be down near a 1.2, 1.3 U value, and therefore your overall heat losses have come right the way down. So we're only actually, rather than the 12.2 kilowatts or whatever it was at the start, it's now down to 8.5 kilowatts roughly. So then it's proposing a heat pump, and we can then basically build a system that will satisfy the heat loss generated by the heat loss program. And we can provide a guide estimate. And at the moment, it's already sort of done most of it for us. So this is a good indication of what it's likely to cost for this particular heat pump that's been specified, the 16 kilowatt NEBI, with a 250 litre hot water cylinder and a design temperature of 45 degrees. So it gives you an idea of the efficiencies of the heating system. This SCOP means that effectively the system's going to be running at 385% efficiency on average over the heating season.
And
And
the flow temperature is if somebody's already done a lot of research and wants to play around with flow temperature, even at the guide estimate stage,
yes, yeah,
this
so we
piece
can
of
edit this.
software means you can play around with the flow temperature, or
Exactly. So we can make changes and additions and basically, yes. So the flow temperature itself, we can say, okay, what's going to run like if we run it at 50 degrees? Does it mean that you need a different heat pump? Does it mean that you can? The biggest difference will be radiator sizes. So if a customer requires radiators, one of the key things here will be how many radiators they need, which we'll add in on here. We can add radiators and different sizes and types of radiator upgrades.
and this can
We can,
and this, although this is a guide estimate, this all this stuff can be played around with if if you speak to the protect, rather than, it's that thing of the power of doing a guide estimate for yourself on a website, and this shows the
yeah,
power of actually speaking to the potential installer, and if they do a similar system and talk through, then you can already start playing around, and that's even before the installer has spent many hours visiting and surveying and doing the proper heat
yeah,
loss survey.
yeah,
So
yeah,
this is part of how you can see and discuss things with a prospective installer before you actually commit lots of time on either side, because as we're proving, it only takes a few minutes to start sort of playing around with these things and having a discussion. So that's
exactly.
why this guide estimate point and using software like this is so powerful, to get just
Yeah,
give that initial look at your property and look at your kind of options even at this point, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. And this is it. This is the generated quote. It gives you an idea of exactly what's necessary to sort of make the changes. And basically, obviously, we haven't gone through in sort of great detail about what's
No, we
required,
don't
and I've
need to
just
go into
chucked
product
to
in
the
too much
radiator up
detail
there.
because
But
I
it gives you a good indication of exactly what to end up with. And then effectively, if the customer's happy with what we've proposed, we can then they can book a heat loss survey, which is where we do then carry out the site survey and look at everything in more detail, including things like pipe routes, electrical connections, and the position of the heat pump outdoors, things like that.
and check the accuracy of the EPC, and
Yeah.
it's just a lot more detail than the EPC, isn't it?
Exactly, yes. And of course, if the EPC doesn't show things like an extension that you haven't built, because you haven't built it yet, then obviously we would require copies of plans and basically more information which we can work from in if you're making changes to the property or additions to the property itself, garage conversions, extensions, and whatnot.
And that changes the, so that means that makes the guide estimate, if there's extensions, etc., that makes it even more valuable because you can kind of model things more, because the
Hmm.
site survey is, the value of the site survey or the heat loss survey is different if the what you're surveying doesn't exist yet, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it gives you a good indication of exactly what you're likely to be. If we've got nothing to come to do a site survey and see, yeah, you're going to get a good accurate picture of what to expect, the costs, and what we can offer and what we can install in there before it's even built. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you think a customer would benefit from knowing about this process of getting a guide estimate? Is there anything we haven't covered?
No, I think in all honesty, the main thing is if they will need an EPC. The customer will need an EPC to be able to claim the bus grant. So if the house is a retrofit system and they're not changing the house in any way, shape, or form, they're not building extensions, and they're basically looking for a heat pump or a system for their house now, as it is, it's wise to get an up to date EPC anyway, because A, it will make our guide estimates much more accurate. They will be required for the bus scheme in any case. If they are doing an extension or they're doing building work and they're changing the house in any way, then they can wait because the EPC will need to be done after it's finished, so ready for the bus application. So that's quite important.
Brilliant. Thanks, Dax. Thanks for covering that.
No problem.